right. It is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 135. So, first item is the renovation situation. So I guess it's exactly the 1 month mark off until the next hearing. So that's gonna ramp up again, and I'll have to spend some time on that. Today actually I had a couple things to do in relation to that, getting prepared. Other than that, we're going to continue with working toward the next goal of the release of the terminal block mining simulation game tonight. And in addition to that, throughout the days I'm working on a new video. Today actually I didn't get a lot of time to work on that, so I think to be I guess I in terms of percentage probably only got like a couple of percent, so let's say 38% on the editing. I got a couple scenes done, but not much more than that, and a few other errands to run. As for the work on getting the next release, so the overall goal I had for now, so I got all the features that I want in the current version, and currently, yeah, like I said last night, I'm getting to the point where I would like to just speedrun to get some kind of noticeable performance increase, and then just abruptly declare victory. And I guess tonight I might as well just go ahead and declare victory. And last night I rewrote the calculated occlusions function, and there were some bugs when I presented it. I actually tried to run it on stream, and after the stream I merged in the changes, and I tested it, and it was actually pretty. I found a couple of bugs, and actually in fixing the bugs I actually made it simpler, so I can actually declare victory on getting the on refactoring that. So that's done. So for the next probably a couple days, yeah, so the help menu is still pretty badly slow, but that's not a super significant. It's not the end of the world. Moving around the map area is starting to get pretty fast, so I think it's good enough to move on. So for the next couple days, I'm just going to spend the day looking for arbitrary small performance increases, and then maybe I'll do it at least a day or so. Where I just actually play it and test all the cases and stuff to look for bugs. Make sure there's no significant regressions, and then I'll actually call it a release, and then step back and reflect a little bit on the next overall trajectory. Yoshikaga Kira says first. Oh no, ended the stream streak. Not for now. I think we'll continue with. I guess I've been doing it for 135 days, so it's. I mean, it'd be arbitrary if I quit tomorrow, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day. So we'll try it. Well, we'll try to keep going on it. I think it'll be. Actually, I'd been considering before of like actually doing the release and then just doing a couple streams where I go for a walk. I think that would be nice. Actually, I need to get out. I need to get out and exercise more. This summer was. This was a really horrible summer. In terms of weather, it was incredibly hot. It was so hot you couldn't really do anything. I usually go for a run every couple of days, but it was so hot I didn't go for a run for the longest time. And now it's almost too cold. Definitely get some vitamin D. Yeah, I'll try that out. But I guess we'll get to the next milestone, and then hopefully I'll get this stupid video done that I've been working on for a month. So yeah, that's it for the intro. Now to look for small performance wins, I think it makes sense to actually do empirical testing. So I have this running. Actually, this is running locally. And I have a profiler. So I was using Visual VM for profiling, but that guess I was that was how I concluded that the calculated occlusions function that was actually a major source of the slowdown, but. I think this is a better profiler, but I'm not familiar with it, and it seems like way more featureful. I thought I heard music somewhere. Yeah, so I ran this. So the way it works is you run a flight recorder. See, is that it? There's a lot about this I don't know. So I'm just gonna take the stream to mess around with it. See if I can interpret some of the results. It's kind of hard on this small screen. Now it has stack traces, but I don't see any stack traces, and it's not cool. That's kind of the most important part. So this thing clearly has access to the code, or at least some kind of. Yeah, it's got functions and line numbers, so it knows about the code. Now it's got samples. I don't really know what exactly that means. I guess it's just sampling randomly where it is. kind of hard to interpret this. I'll be right back. So this is kind of annoying because it tells me that I have tells me there's issues with the, yeah, there we go. It says got inverted parallelism 6 times. Hopping in, say, have a good weekend. You as well. Thanks for stopping by. So clearly there's issues with garbage collections. So we've got this big max severity. But it's not super clear where in the code this is being caused. Interesting. I guess maybe if I can find where all these allocations and reallocations happen, then I wonder if maybe this is not connected to this. Like maybe this is just an overview thing that will not show me any specific. Like if it doesn't have enough information to relate this to individual lines of code. So that there, that would be from where it's printing. So I think I only use string builder when I'm printing out the output. Okay, I guess logback uses it. Let's do another recording. So I'll just scroll up and down for 30 seconds or for 60 seconds to sample the use case. All right, here is the results. Hmm. 500 megabytes of allocations. That's only 3% of the total allocations. Be nice if it showed me the actual line of allocation. Dominate the world? Sure, I will. This is the plan. What am I doing? I'm working on, currently I'm using a profiler that gives me feedback about what's causing the latency in my game. So I'm browsing through to try and figure out which lines of code specifically are causing the slow speed. I'm not familiar with this profiling software, so I'm just taking some time to like click around and figure it out. That doesn't make any sense. Duration 0. can infer from this that it's now the merge down function that's the majority of the runtime, but I can't see what it's doing in there. My calculated occlusions function is a smaller thing now. That's good. I'm not sure how to zoom back out on this. Interesting. It almost looks like the calculate occlusions function is spending all of its time in this function, which is just a simple function. Maybe there's some insight in that. What are you doing? I'm currently reviewing. I'm looking at a profiler. So this is my terminal-based video game that I'm building. And I'm currently using this piece of profiling software to analyze why the software is slow. So this it's a profiling software. I'm not very familiar with it, but I'm just figuring it out. So this shows me like a diagram of where a given thread is spending all of its time. So it runs these work item tasks, and then most of it is spent successively broken down into these successively more specific functions. Because it was written by a chatbot? Nope, it was written by hand. I have experimented a couple times just trying to ask AI or the what is it? Copilot, whatever the ones that's built in GitHub. I always forget the name of it. I asked it a couple times for optimizations and ideas, and it very seldom has good ideas. At least like about the there are a couple cases where I asked it, like, make me a class that's similar to this existing class, and it was able to do that well. But if I ask it to, like, right now I'm trying to optimize the program to make it faster. And if I ask it to do that, it'll be like, certainly, you can speed it up by rearranging this and that, and try doing this. And it'll say a bunch of stuff that's not wrong, but the way to actually make it faster is to, like, you run the profiler, and then you look at, like, you know, a diagram that shows the measured distribution of where the program is spending its time. Like, there's unexpected revelations like this. It looks like this calculated occlusions function is spending all of its time inside this function, which surprises me. So we'll have to come back and look at that. Now I'm trying to figure out from this thing how to find how to track down the source of memory allocations. When does it trigger? When does it start the profiling? So to start a profiling, I do like start flight recording, and then I just go use the program for a little bit, and then I after like a certain amount of time I can stop it, and then I get the results. When does it trigger? The trigger is so that function is this function right here. So that function right there, get character width for starting boundary. So here's the overall function. It's basically just this for loop. So that whole function, spending all of its time in this function, I guess. Which I guess I could think about. It's probably the branch. So many branch conditions here. That's maybe why it's so slow. I guess this makes it a good candidate for optimizing. The biggest thing, I think I should figure out what the source is of those. And that's why I closed the program. I think I should address figuring out where all these allocations and deallocations are coming from. What would John Carmack do? I don't know. I assume he'd probably do something like run a profiler. The best thing is to spend your time optimizing the stuff that actually needs to be optimized. And sometimes it's hard to guess what's going to be slow in advance. So I guess this is I didn't realize it. This is a reverse. It's like an upside down stack trace. So I think maybe what I have to do is look for like statements that look like just simple lines, and then look at where those types of lines are being called. clearly I don't really understand why it's presenting the information this way. I guess that makes sense. If I wasn't compiling with debug symbols. Interesting. $700 megabytes of booleans. This might be more fruitful. 498. Right, so that is the source of most of the allocations, so that's believable. And 499 All right, so now I know at least how to debug things like where the allocations are coming from. It's very helpful to be able to know what I need to be focusing on. That doesn't look right. So I guess that implies it's doing nothing most of the time. views are lower tonight. I guess people are not interested in watching profiling as much. I wonder if it's something like because the colors are different tonight. It throws off YouTube's I don't know, user matching algorithm or something. This view doesn't seem right to me. That looks right. But why does this view not show anything? We are now have to figure out what the difference between those views is. This is what I want to see, but I would like to see, tell me which lines, like 70% of the time, spending in between here. Oh, this might be exactly what I want after all this time. Method profiling. Click on method and then look at successors. Now, how do I sort that column? This is close, but I just can't figure out how to sort. That's crazy. Why doesn't it let me sort that? So it definitely seems like this function, get width for starting boundary, is a significant offender. be really awesome if I could figure out a way to sort that column. What's up? Chooms. Chooms. I've never heard that word before. Currently, I am learning how to use a profiler. As I've used Visual VM, and I'm using JMC, which is a I guess a more sophisticated profiler. So I'm just kind of stumbling through, trying to figure out how to interpret the output and do simple things like, I finally found the kind of view I'm looking for, but I can't figure out how to actually sort. I want to sort this output, but I can't. I'm not sure if I'm just missing it, or if that's like a design flaw. But it seems like a pretty big oversight. You can't sort this. Otherwise, if I want to figure out what to work on next, I have to scroll down this whole list and then pick the thing with the biggest event count. So calculate occlusions now takes 10% of this function time, which makes sense. Color codes takes 3. I guess interestingly, there's also nothing in here about allocations. I'm not really sure how to interpret this count. If it's just like randomly sampling where it is in the code or something. And this function is not recursive, so I don't know why that appears here. AI says stack count from BBFCC tool is a powerful tool to do that. That sounds like a different tool. For now, I'm trying to learn this one, but So I'm doing a lot of memory allocations and deallocations. That may also be an important thing to investigate. It's not super obvious to me if this is really causing any performance issues, though. I don't know if that duration is wrong. It must be wrong. It says 0 nanoseconds. There's no way it's 0 nanoseconds. Well, I got some stuff to look at, but it's really hard to interpret these profiling results. From the look of this, might not be a lot I can do. But these percentages almost don't look like they add up. Looks like I gotta move too. What is your move date? Like moving out of my apartment? At the moment, there's supposed to be no date. We got the third hearing for the N13 evictions. They're trying to evict everybody in the building. I don't know if you've seen that whole story. But a new owner bought the building and tried to evict everybody. And that's been going on for a couple of years. So we got a new eviction hearing. October 6th. New owner 2. Yeah, it seems like a trend. Packing up Monday. Are you in Canada? Or I think you said before you were in UK or something. Italy, interesting. Yeah, I have no idea what it's like there, but I mean, here we're supposed going back home to America. We're supposed to, the building here is supposed to be under rent control, and like supposedly they have no legal basis to evict everybody, and they just said like, oh yeah, we got to replace all the pipes and stuff, and then they like sheepishly told some people like, yeah, if you just agree to pay more money, we'll just tear up the N13 eviction, which is like illegal. And they already lost their case at some of the other buildings, so hopefully they will also lose here. I signed a month lease. Yeah, we have I'm supposed to also have month lease, but don't really know what's going on with these people. They were nice. Now they are kicking everyone out. They want to get people out so they can move new people in and charge them a lot of money. Got a nice deal. Never lasts. I mean, there's some people in this building who have been here who are able to enjoy 30 years of rent control. But the good times are over. The economy's collapsing. Does not matter if it's month to month or not. You're not safe in Ontario. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's one thing just to, like, some people, like the antagonists will say like, you don't own the building, you rent it. But if renting provides no security, like if renting is even, like, renting is already precarious, but if it gets even more precarious, however, like, people are supposed to have jobs and function and like build any kind of stability in their life. Don't want to be a doomer. Yeah, I think it'll go on until I think a lot of people seem to think like we need a social movement, but I think what'll happen is eventually this will run its course until it becomes not profitable to do this, like until everyone is just so desperate. Because I think they count on a lot of people just giving up and like leaving their rent control departments. But if everyone is like we're already seeing unemployment rise in Canada and stuff. So if the if the place becomes unlivable enough, then like there's only so much money you can squeeze out of the population until there's nothing left, and then at that point private equity will be like, oh, we have to stop this. This is not sustainable. I was paying a little over 100 euros. 100 euros to live in a townhouse right outside downtown Italy. Wow, that's like a couple hundred Canadian dollars, I think. That sounds amazing. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 100 euros would be about 200 Canadian. So I'm currently paying 1,150 or something for this apartment. This apartment's under rent control. After they bought this building, they jacked up the new rent to $2,400 a month, and they for a couple of months they were renting at that price. And since then it's gone down a bit. It's like I think 1,900 or something today. If you want to move in tomorrow. My ranch is around 700. New ones are at 14. Yep, it's going up. It's a dump, but it's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's if it does what you need, like we don't need these spacious there's a lot of new places have amenities and things that people don't want, or like they'll try to put in a dishwasher as an excuse to jack up the rent like hundreds of dollars per month, but it's not really even in places I've lived where I've had a dishwasher, I just wash my own dishes. Paying $1,000 for a 1-bedroom. That's not too bad. At least it's not like New York. And I think London is also pretty insane as well. That's disappointing. going to renovate it, rent it for several more hundred. Gotta get out so they can work. Funded their renovation. Yeah, basically, same thing up here. They're only in this building. This landlord has been doing the same thing with like a large number of buildings. He does the exact same thing and then just like instantly starts to rent evict everybody. Oh. Sucks because I wanted to stay here, but I couldn't make friends and source new networks. Everyone is busy. So for about 2 years. A lot harder to make friends than I thought. Mostly local businesses. Yeah, it's a lot of work to move to a totally new place and build a new network. I find the other thing is if you move to a new place, you can like go to events, go to networking events and stuff. But the type of people you meet at those locations are also themselves, it's like a select subset. So it's, if you go to networking events, you'll meet people who are also meeting like 1,000 other people, and always go to networking events and stuff. Whereas if you like grow up in the area, you know, you'll spend a lifetime beside just ordinary people. So I wasn't using Visual VM because it wasn't showing me line numbers. But in the JMC, I realized I'm not compiling with I didn't compile with debug symbols, so maybe that's really what I needed to be doing. So this thing shows me CPU time. Let's see if it'll show me right down to the line. Self.time. That doesn't add up. So I want to know, what is that 73%? I guess I could split it into methods. Maybe AI would have the answer. Yeah, you know, I was thinking, like with there's all these like, you know, dating sites and stuff like that. People can keep coming up with revolutionary new ideas. And actually, I don't even know what the state of the art on dating sites and apps and stuff like that is now. I know it's been, I know that it's terrible. Every time I look into it, it's like worse than it seems to get worse and worse every year. But I would imagine, because they don't actually care about building a good product, they just care about extracting money from people. But I would imagine that AI could probably like completely solve that problem. Like if we actually wanted to make a good dating app now, imagine with large language models, how you could you could just get people to talk to a chatbot, and then you could like cluster people according to like the stuff they talk about and how they talk, and that would probably be very successful if someone built that. What are some good traveling jobs? I'm going to put my stuff in storage and just move around. Traveling jobs. I don't know if that's even necessarily a category in itself. Usually, I guess for some sales jobs you have to move around a lot and go to like a conference and fly into some place and show up and man a booth somewhere. But I guess for those, you have to kind of, you have to already have some reason to work for that company, or like you're already like you have some expertise at that company. I don't know. I don't have any good input on that. I guess it depends if you want to optimize for like enjoying yourself moving around, or if you want to maximize money. Because if you want to maximize money, the jobs where you have to travel are probably taking you to places that you really have no interest in going to, and you probably have to constantly be moving around. So I think the conclusion will be, I'll probably have to split some of this up into methods. Because the profiler doesn't seem to give me good information if I just have everything in one method. Was a cabler for Infinity. Moved around, but that didn't pay much. Considered electrician. Gotta be an apprentice forever. Not sure. I guess the where you probably do the best in life is leverage your existing strengths and experience. I'm not sure if there's still much cabling work around, but if that worked for you before, something like that or similar might work again. It's hard to say these days. Everybody wants success and prosperity, but not very many people are getting it. The the inputs into the system are not enough. There's just like, I was thinking about that today. Like if you just think about, everyone's working hard to make money and get rich and buy houses and stuff. And I think in Ontario here, the number of new housing sales was like, it was like a few hundred. It was like a few hundred or like a few thousand or something. It was some absurdly low number. and that's in a city of I forget what our population is now. It's like many millions, at least like 2 or 3 million or something. Probably the metro area is even more than that. So like we have this massive, we have millions of people, but like a handful of houses. So mathematically, like things are just not computing. Is it still worth getting into networking? Cisco certificate? I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I know tech in general is pretty competitive now. I would imagine, I assume you mean like networking, like IT, networking, support stuff. There's probably, I think that's one of those things that probably will not be automated, and there will probably be continued demand for this. I think there will be continued demand for that in the future, but at the same time, probably a lot of companies just, they need it, but they can't afford it, so they'd understaff in that department. I'd like to know how much all these allocations are slowing everything down. Okay, now that should show up in the profiling. What do you do for a living? If you don't mind me asking, be nice to get the inside scoop. In 2014, I started my software consulting business. If you want the full detail of the last 10 years of history, if you watch my How to Become a 37-Year-Old Broke Loser video, that'll tell you about the last 10 years of my business. And throughout my business, I just focus on whatever seems to be working and making the most money. I just double down on that. And in the last few years, social media in particular YouTube, has been bringing in most of the revenue. And recently, it is currently the main source of my income. So I'm putting more time into it. Got a bunch of skills, but I can't focus. Need someone who will take me and use my potential. Let me do my work on whatever it is that needs working. Can't focus as in none of these jobs really utilize my skills. School's not an option. Be willing to get a certificate. Yeah, I don't know. It's good luck. I think it's not realistic to expect to find a company that will be sympathetic to that perspective. I guess when the supply of workers is very large, they'll just as it is now, they'll say, well, if you can't do it and come in and work hard 12 hours a day and focus and whatever, then we'll find someone who can. I guess your options are either entrepreneurship or you have to submit to the corporate machine. School is not an option. Too expensive. Willing to get a certificate. Yeah, school. Like depending on where you go to school. Like there's a lot of schools now, and I mean some of them. I think this is really coming to a head as well. Just like the housing market, there's a lot of schools that are not at all a good financial decision. There's an incredible number of people who've like gone and spent $200,000 getting a degree in something that doesn't actually produce an ROI, and now they have like massive student debts that are gaining interest out of control. So that doesn't even show up. Oh, it does show up. There it is. Make Boolean array. Interesting. So that is 700 milliseconds. That's pretty substantial. And that put that down to 66. Okay, maybe maybe it is worth it to figure out how to reduce those allocations. maybe that would see what that does. Definitely dodged a bullet by not going to school. Wouldn't have made it. Yeah, I mean, you especially dodged a bullet by like there were some of those schools. I think one was ITT Technical Institute or something, and the government stepped in and like shut it down. And so many of these schools are just basically scamming students completely. And I think there's really a conceptual problem. Like, students go to these schools, they get massively into debt, and then they don't have an education that they can use to service the debt. But then we either blame the student for making a bad choice, or we say, oh, you know what, the government should bail the student out and pay the loan. But in my opinion, what I see there is like it's like a theft. Like, well, outside of some very rare circumstances, the only reason to go to school is because you believe that your education is going to be more valuable. It's going to make you more valuable than if you didn't go. So if you go there, get an education, and if you're not getting the ROI, then I claim that it's the university or the college that has defaulted on the contract. It's like if I go to a car dealership and I say, hey, I need to invest in a car to get to work, and then they sell me something, and it turns out to be like a garbage car that just breaks down immediately, and I don't get any. I still have to call a taxi every day. I got ripped off. Like, if you're literally getting scammed in any other kind of market, we recognize that for what it is. It's a default of the contract, and I think that's the way. That's the way ideally some of these things should be pursued. There should be some like, it shouldn't be the government coming in to pay for all this stuff. There should be some punishment. Like the money went somewhere. Go after the money. All right, let's profile that again. All right. Interesting. So that's a decent amount of CPU time. Yeah. I guess I could just make it would take very little development time to just make a function that inside of this function, I could just make it store that whatever the last one was. So it'd be like my own allocator function. And then if you're asking for something that's bigger than the existing region, then just allocate a new array. And if not, just return the existing one. And that'll work as long as I don't actually try to do something with the if I'm inspecting the length of the array, that won't work. I wonder if it's seems like there should be a simpler way to do this, because I'm basically, what I want to do is effectively manage memory in a language that's already memory managed. Got about 6K. What would you do with it in my situation? I have to go back home and start over. That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know enough about it depends on what is your relationship like with your family? You say go back home. I assume you mean back home with family. Got a few places to stay, not for long. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you have like an existing network somewhere, like if you have parents who are like you get along with, or like you got some family that owns a business or something, or if there's like people who are in your in-group from your past, you can maybe try to reconnect with some of them, or because I think the way the world is going a bit more tribal. Stay with him, but not for long. Yeah, I don't know if you if there's some kind of like I think the people who are going to do well are going to do so by like leveraging by like helping. If you can find ways to help your how you can mutually help your family if it can like look out for each other. Family died, unfortunately. That's too bad. Stay longer if you're contributing rent money. Yeah, I guess honestly it depends on so many factors, but I think if there's like old friends from, just have a few family friends. Yeah, that might be. I guess you said you're from. What you said, go back home. Did you say you're from America or you're from Italy? I guess either way, I think the world is becoming more tribal, and like people are like relying on the government or like society or like corporations to look out for your best interest. That is not like in the 1950s or something. That would be, a company would be like, we'll build your career up and stuff. But I think these days, like if you can reconnect with maybe, go back to your roots, find, and you may even like you'd probably find an easier time networking with old family friends, like even maybe people you haven't even met them before, but like they know someone who's in your family who you are close with, and go back and network with some of those people. That would probably be the most likely thing to lead to like a support network and employment and stuff. A big issue today is like is trust, because like a lot of places we used to have a fairly high trust society, but society overall is becoming a lower. Society everywhere is becoming a lower trust society. So if you can reestablish roots with like people who at least know your family, then they're like, it's not some like random robber or something. Classmates could be worth reaching out to. Yeah, classmates could work. I think probably also like family roots. It all depends on like some people try to get away from their families. From Italy, had family here, they died. Grew up in America. Have to go back. Lived here in Italy with parents before they passed. Now I gotta start over. Yeah, it's there's a lot of people in that boat these days. But yeah, I guess like I said, I don't know all the variables, and you may not even want to talk about all the variables, but I think he means like he was born in Italy and then probably moved to America for opportunities to grow up, and then maybe move back to be with his parents or something, or family, and then they passed away. So a lot of his roots are in America, but I'm a little bit iffy on that as well. But yeah, I would say whatever your relationship is with like some of those people from family, friends, or whatever. Because if you think about all the people in the world, who is the most likely to care at all about your well-being or best interests? Is it like the government? Is it some random corporation? Or is it maybe some, if you go back to the place you grew up in? Going back to where I grew up in Cal, US. I don't recognize that. Is that California? Oh, in Cal. Yeah, I mean, of all the places to be, I think being in the US is probably a decent place to be. I mean, there's certainly a lot of people who really don't like Donald Trump, and they take every opportunity to remind everyone how terrible the US is. But then again, it's everywhere in the world is pretty terrible. You said you have some like family friends or distant family. Are those people, those like distant family, are they in the US? Denver. Yeah, I don't know much about Denver, Colorado, I guess. But yeah, go where there are some people who have the most likelihood of caring about your well-being and existence, which is not going to be a corporation. Talked to them, but I only got 3 months. I guess I'd say if you got 3 months, then like if I say we'll put up with you for 3 months, then the clock's ticking for you've got 3 months to kind of like network and meet some new people and like try to establish some roots. You can, like, whoever these people are that you can ask them to like try to help you network, or try to like tell them what your plans are, what you want to accomplish. Say like, hey, do you know anyone who could help me? And I found I mean, it feels kind of sleazy to do this, but back when I was trying to like get consulting contracts, I would, almost every person I'd meet, I'd ask them for advice and stuff, and quite often I'd ask them like, do you know of anyone else that I should talk to, who might be able to offer me advice on this? And you'd be surprised, like, there's a certain type of person that would just say like no, but then other people who are kind of like a bit more social and good at networking are much more likely to recommend someone to you. And sometimes you can get kind of like on an infinite chain of like, you can meet a new person and say like, hey, do you know of anyone else who can help me, who I could ask advice for about this thing? And then they'll intro you to someone, and then you can meet that person, and then you can ask them, and then you just meet more and more people, and then you expand your network, and now you're famous and rich. And you can also offer to do chores or hustle or something until you kind of like get established, figure out what you're doing. People don't want to put up with you for a long time, but if you if your habits are such that you're easy to be around, then what are you doing today? Currently, I have been working on profiling. So I've been trying to figure out the source of slowness, and I think I found a new thing to optimize. So I'll maybe make the array allocations, which I think actually a pretty significant source of slowdown. Where was it? Yeah, I have a bunch of these like temporary arrays. Yeah, I'm not sure what your personal habits are and stuff like that, but if you if you're good at like there's some people make for good roommates and some people make for bad roommates. If you can figure out some kind of arrangement, or if you know someone, if any of these people if any of them have businesses or something that you can work in, or if you can help them in their own lives in some way. I'll have to research like memory pools or something. Probably have like a generic class member or something. That just like stores, we'd store an array. I could reuse that throughout the application, and then the class would just live in this in the screen layer class, and I'd have one instance of it for every array that I need. Well, it's 12:45. I learned a bit about how to use that profiler. I learned that it kind of doesn't do as good a job as I wanted, and I think I've identified a real and actionable thing I can optimize, which is these memory allocations. So yeah, I guess I'll pick up on that tomorrow. Robert, just want to say thanks for broadcasting encouragement and positivity. No worries. That's what you'll get on this stream. Anyway, that'll be it for tonight. So we'll pick things up again tomorrow for day 136. All right, talk to you later, guys.